Hello and welcome to the live coverage of Tottenham against Manchester United on LFS tonight. Ange Postecoglou's first home game in charge of Tottenham welcomes Manchester United, who just scraped past Wolves on Monday night to get their first 3 points of the season. We've already had some very good results so far. 4 games so far this Premier League weekend. Nottingham Forest got the weekend underway with a win at home to Sheffield United. Fulham were beaten quite convincingly at home by Brentford by 3-0. Liverpool clung on to a 3-1 lead and a 3-1 win after going down to 10 men in the second half there against Bournemouth. And Brighton with a second consecutive 4-1 win, this time their opponents Wolves, who were narrowly beaten by Manchester United on Monday night. To the teams for this game, and Ange Postecoglou makes 2 changes to the side that drew 2-2 with Brentford last week. Pedro Porro comes in at right back and Pape Matar Sarr in midfield. The full team for Ange Postecoglou: Vicario in goal, Porro, Van de Ven, Romero and Udogie in defence, Bissouma and Sarr in midfield. With James Maddison in attacking midfield role, with the front 3 of Dejan Kulusevski, captain Heung-min Son and Richarlison as the number 9. For Erik ten Hag's side, no changes to the side that won on Monday night. Andre Onana continues in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka in defence alongside Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. A midfield of Casemiro, Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes, the captain, with a front 3 of Antony, Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford. Well, Tottenham missing the goals of Harry Kane. He's certainly made a fantastic start in his new club at Bayern Munich with their massive win over Werder Bremen on Friday night. Well, Tottenham will be hoping their first home game of the season is one to impress against a very good Manchester United side. Kick-off is on the way in just a moment. Right, we are almost ready to go as the picture's just showing Mason Mount here for Manchester United. Of course, was a player in London last season and for the vast majority of his life. Mason Mount swapped the London life for a move to Manchester this summer and to Manchester United nonetheless. And he is, of course, starting tonight for Manchester United, who make no changes, interestingly, to that team that won 1-0 against Wolves on Matchday 1. Our referee this evening is Michael Oliver, and he gets us underway for the first big game of the season. Tottenham against Manchester United, the top 6, traditional top 6. This is a huge tie tonight. Well, of course, Tottenham, decent start against Brentford last Sunday. A crazy game as well, crazy first half, ended 2-2 in that one. All the goals in that first 45 at the Brentford Community Stadium. But back home, first game at home under Ange Postecoglou's reign, and we'll see what they can do. As here's Dejan Kulusevski early on for Spurs. Down the right hand side, Kulusevski with a cross, back post to Son. Doesn't connect it, and it goes right across the box for Luke Shaw to clear. That was a lovely move down the right hand side from Tottenham early on, and the 2 wingers getting involved. Kulusevski down the right hand side. It's a lovely cross to the back post. Son, there's no Manchester United player in a few yards of him, and he just doesn't connect it right. He's trying to play it right across goal, and it gives Manchester United the chance to clear it. So, and they will get the free kick here, Spurs, from that throw-in that they received there. Here's Van de Ven. Back to Vicario. Stevens' first big game of the season was last week, Liverpool v Chelsea. Yeah, but, I mean, like, teams that should be impressing. I mean, Liverpool and Chelsea are still I mean, in transition, of course, Liverpool got their first win today. We'll see how Chelsea do. We'll have them live tomorrow, their visit to West Ham. But I mean, like, the big teams that, I mean, to be fair, Spurs did awful last season, so I don't know. This game always is one that you always look forward to. Tottenham against Manchester United. It's always exciting as Spurs playing it about at the back there. Here's Garnacho on the left. Garnacho in the box. Anthony with a strike. And just over the bar from Anthony. But Spurs just giving the ball away in possession. They're playing it at the back. Vicario plays it into midfield. I think it might be Pedro Porro just messing about with the ball, trying to clear it away. Garnacho latches onto it, picks it up on the left-hand side of the box, cuts it back to the edge for Anthony, who unleashes a strike that ended up over the bar. But Spurs living dangerously at the back there, trying to play it from the back, and the press of Manchester United worked on that occasion. Well, of course, Ange Postecoglou still looking for his best 11, who he can trust to get them a winning formula. Trying to figure out his best team, of course. Only joined in the summer from Celtic, still trying to figure out his best team, and that's what he said in his pre-match interview. You know, Pedro Porro and Pape Sarr coming into the side because he's still trying to figure out who his best team is and who he can trust. Of course, Emerson Royal was, of course, playing last week at that right back position, and interestingly enough, we'll see how Pedro Porro deals with it, because since Porro came in last season, Emerson Royal upped his game for Spurs at right back, and we'll see what Pedro Porro can offer for Spurs tonight in that right back position, as Manchester United have a throw in on this right hand side inside the Spurs half. Stevenson Spurs for me in this game. Well, Spurs the home side. Manchester United just picked up 1 point away from home against top 9 sides last season. Not a record that Erik ten Hag is certainly going to want to change and improve on quite instantly, with their first chance to do so. Here's Alejandro Garnacho. Garnacho on that left-hand side. Garnacho across! And it's one of those ones where it's a cross and a strike in the same time, and it's simple enough save for Vicario in the end. But again, Manchester United look threatening down that left-hand side. Bright start from Alejandro Garnacho. Looking threatening. There's Van de Ven back to Vicario. Across to Romero. Playing it forward to Sarr. Battling with Mount, and Sarr wins the challenge and hits it off Mason Mount, and will get the throw in for Spurs. Jerry says Spurs 3-2 Man United. A classic we're expecting here. 5-goal thriller, possibly. Looking forward to that. If it does happen, that'll be great. That's what we want, is goals. Made goals in the Spurs game last weekend. Quite the opposite in the Manchester United game. Just the 1 goal. A scrappy goal, to be fair, in the end. Here's Udogie down the left-hand side for Spurs. Trying to win the battle against Anthony, and the last touch comes off Udogie, so Manchester United will get the throw in. 5 minutes gone, 0-0 here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Away teams picking up some good points today. Brentford away at Fulham. Tough place to go, Craven Cottage. Brentford came out massive 3-0 winners in that one. Very good result. And Brighton backing up last week's 4-1 win against Luton with a 4-1 win against Wolves as well this week. That was good retreating from Fernandes to win it. Mount trying to target forward Garnacho. Garnacho on the left. Has the ball up against Romero. On the left wing is Garnacho. Has to go backwards. Goes back to Martinez, but the referee has stopped the game for some reason as Bruno Fernandes is on the ground. It's just as he was retreating to win the ball back for Manchester United. It's a collision with Pedro Porro. You see this again. It's one of those ones where he kind of jolts his knee. It's not a terrible challenge by Porro, but it's left Bruno Fernandes in a bit of pain. It's one. He looks in a not a good way at the moment, Bruno Fernandes. Terry says, whatever Manchester United do, do not give away a free kick at the edge of the box. Fair enough. Well, they also need to hope that their goalkeeper doesn't try and come out and clatter one of the opposition players, take them out. You know, still a bit of controversy over that one from last week. I mean, I was doing the commentary on the Manchester United game on Monday night, and I was baffled as to how the referee was not called over to the screen to review that possible penalty decision, because it was a certain penalty for Wolves on Monday night, and Manchester United could be happy they got away with one in that game. Bruno Fernandes back to his feet. Still looks in a bit of discomfort, but he is walking quite, seems to be okay. And probably will return to action, the Manchester United captain. 7.5 minutes gone then. It's not been, it's been one of those ones where it's been, both sides have had one or two opportunities. I think Manchester United probably had the best chance with that Anthony strike that went over the bar. That's probably the best opportunity in the early minutes so far. Here is Onana. Wan-Bissaka into the midfield, and Rashford battling, loses out, and that's won back momentarily by Van de Ven, but he's got it nicked away from him by Anthony, who plays the crossfield ball to Garnacho. Garnacho tries to drive into the box, flicks it across for Shaw. Shaw tries to go for the cross, and defending in there done by Pedro Porro, and that will give Manchester United a corner. But it's Mickey Van de Ven on this left-hand side for Spurs defensively. Just gets the ball stole away from him by Anthony. Anthony with a crossfield ball to find Alejandro Garnacho. Breaks into the box. Nice slide roll ball to try and find Luke Shaw, and Pedro Porro there to defend, to put it behind for the corner. But again, that space on that left-hand side for Manchester United to break into looks to be where Manchester United are being most threatening. Corner, left-footed, whipped in. Varane on the header. That's over the bar, but is it tipped over by the goalkeeper? I think might have been. I think Vicario did get a touch to it, so it will be another corner, but it will be on the opposite side this time, from the right-hand side, this corner. The Spurs keeper believes it wasn't another corner, but I'm not too sure why. It looked like he had touched it, and he would know if he touched it, let's be fair. So Mason Mount to take the corner on the right-hand side. Right-footed delivery into the back post, and Varane meets it again, but this time it's not anywhere near the crossbar. It's well over and into the stands behind that goal for a goal kick to Spurs. Well, of course, Raphael Varane on the score sheet for Manchester United scored their only goal of the game of the season so far in that 1-0 win over Wolves. As I was saying, it was kind of a scrappy goal. It was one of those ones where it was an open net. The Wolves keeper had no chance to get back towards it. That's a nice pass by Onana. Gets it to Wan-Bissaka. Fernandes. Rashford is offside. Flag up straight away against Marcus Rashford. Just, by the way, if there's any mic issues, apologies for that. We're just having a replacement mic at the moment until our new equipment arrives. We just had a mic issue. Typical. Come into a Premier League weekend, a weekend of football, and the equipment breaks. Perfect. But doing with the best with what we have at the moment. So I appreciate everyone still continuing to listen and to watch. As that header from Romero at the back, brought down by Mount. Mount trying to play it forward. It's blocked by Spurs initially, and Wan-Bissaka will let it run for the throw-in. Manchester United have kind of found a bit of a foothold in this, getting to the ball quicker, winning the first headers and the second balls as well. It's quite the opposite to what Manchester United were on Monday night. You know, I keep coming back to it, but the performance for Manchester United on Monday night, I don't think it was one that heralded a 3 points or a win on Monday night. I think they were lucky that Wolves couldn't finish their chances. If Wolves could finish their chances, which is common for Wolves, it's always the criticism of Wolves over the years has always been about their an ability to finish their chances, and that's the common theme with Wolves. But if they were able to finish their chances on Monday night, Manchester United wouldn't have been coming away with anything, possibly, but they've had so many good chances. But this Manchester United team looks a bit more cohesive this evening, probably with the extra bit of training that they've had, of extra week of training, linking this team up and working hard with their cohesion. Stevens' sound is good. That's good to hear. He's just a bit worried about the sound because of the replacement mic as Rashford's through here. Rashford! Vicario had to get in the way, and Spurs scrambling at the back to get it cleared as Son trying to recycle the ball and try and get Spurs forward. Yves Bissouma goes down, and we'll get the free kick off Marcus Rashford. Just see the replay of that again. Down the right hand side, it's Anthony and Rashford linking up, and Rashford takes the ball through, running against Romero. Romero has no chance, and luckily his goalkeeper helps him and gets a right hand to it. A strong right hand from Vicario to deny Marcus Rashford the opening goal. Still 0-0, but another good chance for Manchester United on the break. Steven says, look what Brighton did to Wolves. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that Wolves deserved anything. Well, to be fair, they did. I think they would have deserved a point at Old Trafford, but I'm not going to say that they were world-beating and the best team and unbelievable on the night. To be fair, they were okay, but they were okay against a quite low-par Manchester United team that weren't really on their game on Monday night. I think if Manchester United played at least 10% better on Monday night, they would have beaten them 3-0. Like the way Brighton put 4 past Wolves today, I think that would have been very possible on Monday night if Manchester United played just that slight bit better. But yeah, I mean, Wolves, to be fair, I predicted them, and not many people did, but I did predict them to be in a relegation battle and to get relegated this season because I didn't think they had the quality. So that's a lovely ball by Fernandes, finds Rashford. Rashford on the run down the right. Marcus Rashford flicks it around the corner for Wan-Bissaka across. Garnacho had it blocked by Romero, and they're clearing their lines, Spurs. But again, Manchester United finding the spaces in the box, working the ball, trying to be clinical on the end of it and catch Spurs out. There's a lovely initial ball by Bruno Fernandes. The vision to see that pass to Marcus Rashford and to execute it is fantastic. Still 0-0 though. Here is Romero. Flicked over the top, looking for Udogie, but Udogie's beaten off the ball quite simply there by Casemiro. Now Anthony making a run at the Spurs defence again. First touch heavy by Fernandes, but it will deflect wide, and Pape Sarr will pick it up. The handball as the advantage is played for Spurs. Here's Kulishevsky down the right hand side to 4-on-4. Kulishevsky gets the corner for Spurs. So corner for Spurs, and it's the first real chance that Spurs have had to finish off a counter-attack. It was a lovely move from Kulishevsky. It's similar to the chance they had very, very early on where they broke down that right-hand side. But I think Spurs again will see what they can do from this set piece. James Maddison with the corner. The first header by Pape Sarr, but it's well off target and out of play for a goal kick. I mean, Man United struggled, yet Brighton brushed them aside. Yeah, to be fair, although it might come down to the fact that Brighton are probably better at breaking down a more resolute defensive side. You know, defensively they were resolute, Wolves, on Monday night, and I think that was good. And Man United struggled to break them down. But if they found that pass just a bit quicker, they were a bit, lax, a bit lethargic in their passing on Monday night, Manchester United. If they were just a bit quicker, I think they could have broke Wolves down. And I think that was why Brighton done so well against Wolves today. I mean, I haven't seen the game. I was concentrating on the Liverpool game. As Spurs are in behind here. Here's the run from, I think that was Kulishevsky. It was indeed. And he gets another corner. That's again Kulishevsky against Shaw. Shaw being beaten time and time again. He makes the run inside Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw's just trying to find out where the ball's going to go. He's just a bit too slow for it. And Martinez there to help out his left back against Kulusevski, who's looked really threatening down that left-hand side for Spurs, or that right-hand side, sorry, for Spurs early on here. So Spurs with another corner. Of course, we mentioned it last week. They're very good from scoring from corners, the joint most in the Premier League. That corner's headed away by Varane. Son will pick it up. Haven't heard much of Son in the first 17 minutes. Very minimal involvement from the Spurs captain, Heung-min Son. You could argue as well, most of the Spurs attacking players, the most involved Spurs player in terms of attack has been Kulusevski so far. Maddison, Son and Richarlison have all struggled to really get on the ball at all in this game. That's because of the Manchester United possession early on in the game, the chances that they've created. Here is Romero for Spurs to Sarr. Now back to Van de Ven. Down to the left-hand side is Son. Back to Van de Ven. Udogie. Bissouma. Bissouma's broke into space, and Yves Bissouma is brought down there, and the referee, Michael Oliver, does give the free kick the way of Spurs. Eventually. He had to think about it first, Michael Oliver. But the free kick has been given to Tottenham. Yves Bissouma started 2 successive games for Spurs to start the season. He was few and far between in Antonio Conte's side last season. Few and far between in his appearances, but he's already made 2 and 2 this season. Maddison with a free kick, whipped in, headed away by Martinez, and the recycle of the ball to Son on the left. United defenders wanted the flag, and Son played the ball. Maddison seemed that he was fouled. He wanted a foul, but referee Michael Oliver had a good view of it and said no to that. Son tried to play the through ball, and Maddison was just, I'll see it again, Maddison with the header to Son, and then Son trying to link up with Maddison again, and the arm, I think, from Garnacho that Maddison is complaining about, but I don't think there's much in that for a free kick. Wan-Bissaka down the right-hand side, down the line to Anthony. The ball's put out of play for a Manchester United throw-in. Fernandes to take to Wan-Bissaka. Under pressure from Son, here's Wan-Bissaka. Plays out of it nicely. Fernandes with Casemiro, and Anthony trying to flick it round the corner for Fernandes, but that flick gives the possession back to Spurs. Romero. Christian Romero then for Spurs at the back. To Mickey Van de Ven. Udogie. A bit loose in possession, and Udogie will be penalised for that rash attempt at trying to win the ball back, and that will be a free kick to Manchester United. Well, the target for these two teams will be very different this season. Of course, Tottenham under a new regime. Rashford with the free kick through to Rashford, but hit Van de Ven and will go out for the corner. Look to try and catch Tottenham out there. Fernandes with the through ball to Rashford. Rashford made the run into the box, but Spurs had it covered, and the corner will be given to Manchester United on the right-hand side. Fernandes to take this corner. Quite interchangeable with their corner takers so far, Manchester United. Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes both taking them so far. Fernandes to take this one, right-footed, right across, headed away at the front post, kept alive by Anthony, but only white shirts there to clear it away. Onana picks it up inside his own half and fires it forward, looking for the crossfield ball. It looks to be a beautiful ball. It is to Garnacho. Garnacho with a cross, and Van de Ven there to block it and clear it away. But what a ball initially from the Manchester United goalkeeper, Andre Onana. He picks it up, he looks a bit nervous, he takes it down, and the absolute beautiful cross. Right up diagonal ball to the left-hand side for Alejandro Garnacho to pick up. That space on that left-hand side, I've mentioned it a couple of times, seems to be where Manchester United are trying to catch Spurs out on the cross. There's a couple of times they've taken that option up, and it's been a good chance for them to get the ball forward. Again comes to nothing though. That throw-in for Manchester United is given away to Spurs. Van de Ven gets it to Udogie, under pressure from Casemiro. Udogie keeps the possession just about, and the last touch will be off Casemiro, so that will be a throw-in to Tottenham. Quite a interesting game so far. 22 minutes gone, still 0-0 here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium between Tottenham and Manchester United. Manchester United have had the better of the spoils, but Spurs have found a slight foothold in it in the last few minutes. They've found their way into the game, but Fernandes has the ball. Garnacho on the left-hand side. Alejandro Garnacho cuts it back for Fernandes. Fernandes with a flick in the box, and Rashford just over the bar. It was absolutely scintillating football from Manchester United on the approach play. But the finish is again just over the bar from Marcus Rashford. It's a fantastic pass from Fernandes out wide to Garnacho. Garnacho then brings it back, cuts it back for his captain, who I think it might have been offside, Rashford anyway. But the pass from Fernandes is one out of the top drawer. Sensational, but Rashford just over the bar from the header. I think he might have been just offside anyway. Onana clearance will go out of play. Not enough for Aaron Wan-Bissaka to gather. So a throw-in it will be to Spurs on the left-hand side. Into that Spurs throw-in is intercepted instantly by Wan-Bissaka. Rashford plays off him, gets it to Mount. Now out wide to Garnacho. Garnacho on the left-hand side. He's got Luke Shaw running. Gives it to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw looking to cut it back. Fernandes strikes right through it. And it's cleared away by Spurs again. The referee even helping out there. Hits the ref in the process as Spurs clear it away. Manchester United pick it up again though. Fernandes. Crossfield ball. Brought down nicely by Anthony. Cuts it back to Wan-Bissaka. Casemiro with the dribbling ball. That was a poor ball by Casemiro, and now Spurs trying to break as Varane beaten to the ball by Son. Son against Varane. Son cuts back inside. Thought he was being held. Son across the box. Pape Sarr gives it to Kulusevski. Kulusevski with a strike, and straight at Andre Onana, who done well in keeping his eye on the ball, knew where it was going. But the pace from Heung-min Son initially, I thought Rafa Varane had it covered down the left-hand side, but Heung-min Son with the pace gets past the Manchester United defender and plays it across the box to Sarr. Sarr gives it to Kulusevski, and Kulusevski has time to take the strike, but it's straight at Andre Onana. Better from Spurs on the counter-attack there. And Son showing his impact. That's nice for Udogie to win it back. Bissouma. Spurs finding their rhythm. Here's Bissouma. Porro. Now to Romero. Through the lines to Richarlison. And Richarlison gets it to Pape Sarr, and Pape Sarr keeps it. It was a heavy ball by Richarlison. But Sarr kept it. Van de Ven. James Maddison coming deep. Son trying to link up with Maddison, but Anthony's there to break it apart. And nice footwork from Wan-Bissaka to keep the possession. Rashford, lovely for Marcus Rashford. Makes the run off Van de Ven. Rashford with a cross. Gets it to Garnacho. Garnacho on the edge of the box. A deflection from his strike. A few cries of handball, but I think the deflection will see it wide for the corner. And no less. And no more. But they will stop the game. See this again from Garnacho. Oh. Christian Romero's arm is in the air and it's out of the body silhouette. This will be interesting. Yeah, I think that's a close one, this. We'll see what VAR will do. It's one of those ones where his arms are up out of his body, but he's kind of trying to get his balance to the ball. But VAR are checking this, so a possible penalty from the Alejandro Garnacho chance. He takes the strike. It hits the right arm of Christian Romero. and deflects wide for the corner. Now, whether the deflection means that it would have been going in if the ball hadn't hit his arm, that could be a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, but I don't think they're going to go that far. I think they're just going to give a possible handball here. They are checking for this penalty VAR, but the news from Michael Oliver, the referee, from the VAR suite, is that there's no penalty. Yeah, I was unsure about that one. It's one of those ones where it's hard to gauge whether it's actually in an unnatural position initially, the arm of Christian Romero. It's one of those ones where you can't really understand. You can understand why the referee didn't give it on the pitch, and VAR corroborated that decision. Only a corner for Manchester United. There's a few, I think it's bits of paper or something that the fans are throwing on this side. Of course, we never condone any sort of behaviour like that. Luke Shaw to take this corner. Whips a corner in. Casemiro was there, just about getting it away. Garnacho was there also, trying to threaten. Mount keeps it alive. Headed away by Romero. Mount picks it up again and gets it to Garnacho. Recycling the possession, Garnacho, but he couldn't keep it in, and Spurs will get the throw in. Such an electric game, this. 0-0. We've already had a bit of VAR involvement in this one. I think they did get the correct decision to not give a penalty. Of course, we will show you a still image of it at half-time. If we can get a good image of it at half-time, you can make your own decision in the chat. Here's Richarlison. Breaks away from the challenge of Martinez. Richarlison looking for the cross. A slip in there from one of the Spurs players, but nonetheless it's cleared. Bissouma picks it up in the middle, up against his counterpart Bruno Fernandes. Bissouma thought he just shook the challenger Fernandes off there, but apparently he had fouled him. So a free kick will be given Manchester United's way. And Bissouma couldn't believe that in the initial one, and still can't believe it, shaking his head as he walks away from Michael Oliver. Just see it again. It's Yves Bissouma trying to burst past Bruno Fernandes, who puts a challenge in. It's a 50-50, and then Fernandes wins the ball, and then Bissouma just pulls him back. Gets a hold of his shirt, pulls him back. That is a foul by the ref. That's a good decision by the ref. Porro getting back against Garnacho, who was breaking down that left. It's one of those ones where both teams just want to keep the momentum. Don't want to let the game lose its tempo at this moment. The tempo being high helps both teams. Casemiro finds it to Rashford. Rashford in the box, trying to do the quick feet, but Spurs have bodies back to clear it away. As Maddison carries it away for Spurs, and Spurs on the counter-attack. They've bodies forward here. Here's Udogie. Gives it to Son. Son on the left-hand side. Feeds it through, and there's a chance for Pape Sarr. A second chance at it. And just Andre Onana gathers it, luckily. Made the initial save that was back, found its way back to Pape Sarr, and he couldn't make the second strike count. It's Maddison who carries it away. Udogie picks it up, gives it out to Son. Son trying to go for the feinted through ball to find the run of Pape Sarr, who takes the strike first time. Saved by Onana, and the save rebounds back to Pape Sarr, and Pape Sarr just can't finish it. Couldn't find the right strike on it to put Spurs 1-0 up, and Manchester United get away with one there defensively. But it's a lovely move again by Son. You can see what he can create for Spurs. Looks so good in those areas. Heung-min Son, he can not only score goals, but he can also play perfect balls to set teams up. Set his players up, for his own team. 30 minutes gone. 0-0 still it remains here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in North London. The fixture between these two at this stadium last season was a 2-2 draw back in April. Goals on that day from 3 of the 4 players on the pitch this afternoon. Marcus Rashford on the score sheet for Manchester United, Pedro Porro and Heung-min Son for Spurs. The only one that isn't on the pitch today that scored in April is Jadon Sancho, who of course is on the bench for Manchester United this afternoon. Football Generation, hey, it's me, Fun, on my alt. Oh, you're on a different account. great to have you back again. Font and Vicario pressed at the back there. Son with a flick on, but Martinez gathers it. That's a lovely ball out wide to Anthony. Anthony with the through ball through to Rashford. Rashford cuts it across and Fernandes latches onto it, but the block from Christian Romero vital again. Anthony with the strike, looking for the curling one, and that's cleared away. Or that's over the bar, sorry. And that's goal kick. Well, don't forget the Premier League action. We have a triple header for you today. Already seen Liverpool winning 3-1 at Anfield against Bournemouth. We're watching 0-0 between Tottenham and Manchester United so far with 32 minutes gone. And we have one more game. The champions, Manchester City, hosting Newcastle United. What a game that is set up to be. What a mouth-watering fixture. That kicks off tonight at 8 o'clock from the Etihad Stadium. I'll be doing commentary on that one too. There is a free kick here. I just missed all that as I was doing the adverts, but there was a yellow card brandished for one of the players. I think it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka that was booked for some reason. Might be a foul. It looks like it is because Spurs have been given the free kick, which again they've made nothing of, and Manchester United recover. But Udogie wins it back for Spurs. Maddison. Pape Sarr. Sarr on the ball. Finds it to Son, and Son with the strange telegraphed ball. A bit scrappy, a bit loose. And Varane, under pressure, has to go back to Wan-Bissaka. And that's all the battling in there, as Manchester United have it at the back again with Wan-Bissaka. Down the line to Varane, who's broke into a nice space here. Gets it to Rashford, who at the second time of asking keeps it alive. Gets it to Casemiro. Now Mount to Shaw. Luke Shaw on the left. Fun says Tottenham is losing today. Interesting. Not backing the Ange project. Then, why was Luton match postponed? Just as Jerry explained there, Jerry's just put it in. Yes, Kenilworth Road is not ready at the moment. They're still trying to fix things up for the new season, so that game was postponed prior to the season starting, with Luton trying to get their ground up to standard. So Luton against Burnley was postponed to newly promoted sides as well. Well, the other newly promoted side, Sheffield United, were beaten on Friday night. A good game that was, Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United on Friday night. A game that, well, I wasn't watching. Again, the UK TV wouldn't allow it, but, you know, we move. Here's Udogie, who I thought that was the case. He flag did take a bit of a while from the assistant on that side. He was offside there, Udogie. Well, I've been decently impressed by the Spurs centre-backs so far, Christian Romero and Mickey van de Ven. They haven't looked as exposed as I thought they would be. And that's probably it's props to them, because it's a new partnership. And it'll be interesting to see how they go on throughout the game. If Manchester United make forward changes. Here's Rashford. Gets it to Anthony. Anthony on the right-hand side. Back to Wan-Bissaka. Anthony again. Cuts it back to Casemiro. Anthony. Manchester United looking to find bodies into the box. Anthony with a switch ball. Gets it to Garnacho on the left. Nice takedown by Garnacho. Shaw with the first time cross in, and Fernandes heads it well wide. It's a glorious position for Bruno Fernandes. I don't know if he was offside. We'll see it again. Garnacho cuts it back to Shaw with the first time. He's well onside. Bruno Fernandes just has to head it down towards goal. Vicario has no chance, and he just bounces up off his head and over the bar. A huge opportunity for Bruno Fernandes to put Manchester United ahead, and he heads it over the bar and behind for a goal kick. But that was a sensational cross from Luke Shaw, but nothing comes for Manchester United. Still 0-0. Sarr carries it away for Spurs. Kulishevsky trying to get Spurs on the attack as there's been a battle there as the advantage is played as the ball falls to Madison. Madison gets it to Son. Son with the cross. Right across goal. Far too much on that one. There was no Spurs player on that far side, and then Pedro Porro gives away the free kick. Richarlison's gone down in the box. No idea what that's all about. Some goals from the games around Europe in the Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund against Köln at the moment is goalless. That was a 5:30 kickoff. In Serie A, Empoli and Hellas Verona was a 5:30 kickoff as well. That's 0-0. The champions of Serie A, Napoli, have come back from a one-goal deficit against Frosinone. Napoli lead by 2-1, and Lyon 0-0 against Montpellier. They just kicked off around 7 minutes ago. I'll keep you up to date with those games, as and when if there's any goals in any of those matches. Well, into the last 7 or so minutes of the first half, plus any additional time as well. And it is still goalless between these two. It's one of those close games. That's a challenge from Anthony, and he will be instantly booked by Michael Oliver. And Anthony, shouting at the ref, has to watch himself there. He's on a yellow card. Just been booked. He might be booked again if he keeps it up. But Anthony, it's a cynical challenge on Yves Bissouma. It's not necessary. Just no touch on the ball and just takes Yves Bissouma out. The referee's always going to give a free kick and a yellow card, and there's some issues here because Bruno Fernandes is over chatting with the ref. There was calls of off from the Spurs fans. Maybe that was Anthony arguing with the referee. And the calm has descended here as Bruno Fernandes just having a chat with the ref. All the drama. Speaking of drama, Napoli haven't taken the lead against Frosinone. It is still back to 1-1. The goal was disallowed. So 1-1 in that game. Bruno Fernandes is still chatting to the referee. We've seen this in recent weeks since the start of the season. Referees are not taking any of this. Bruno Fernandes screaming at the referee, and Bruno Fernandes has been yellow carded as well for the persistent arguing with the referee about that decision. I think the referee was correct in giving the yellow card initially. I don't understand why they're so aggrieved by that, Manchester United. And they now have 2 players on a yellow card rather than just the one from that whole incident, as the Bruno Fernandes, the United captain, is also in Michael Oliver's book. Nice run from Son. Son in the box here, cuts it back across, and oh my goodness me, how that's not 1-0. Hits the underside of the crossbar and back out. Spurs. Oh, it's hit the post. Oh my goodness me, 2 times from the woodwork. It was Pedro Porro and Pape Sarr, I think. Wonderful. How Spurs are not ahead here is unbelievable. We'll see the replay in a moment. I'll explain it to you in a moment as Varane clears his lines. My goodness me. How it is not 1-0 to Spurs is unreal. Still time though as they still push forward. Here's Pedro Porro. And they flick round the corner, has just gone behind for a goal kick. Just see the replay. It's Son, cuts it back. Porro unleashes one at the left, right foot, edge of the box, bang off the crossbar. And then it bounces back and Pape Sarr with the cross. It deflects off a United player, I think it was Luke Shaw, and it hit the post. Manchester United will be counting their lucky stars because that is 2 occasions in the space of just seconds where they could have found themselves behind in this game. Still 0-0 though. My goodness me. The strike from Pedro Porro was beautiful, but it bounced right off the crossbar. A clean connection off the crossbar. Fernandes tried to flick it behind, but Porro there to head it back to his goalkeeper. Honestly, the highlights from this game will be one certainly to get your eye upon at full time. It will be absolutely sensational to see the highlights of this game. It's a game that has certainly not disappointed so far. It never does, Tottenham against Manchester United. There's always something happening in this type of game. And Spurs getting a few chances. The crowd seemingly lifted by those chances. Maddison. Oh, the through ball just about gets its way to Pape Sarr, as Manchester United couldn't cut it out. Sarr, Adoge, Son. Is there time? Is there an opportunity for a breakthrough before half time? Pape Sarr. So we have 3 minutes plus additional time to go in this first half. Son. Behind for Adoge. Adoge up against Casemiro. Back to Son. Son trying to wriggle into space. Finds it to Richarlison. Trying to play the through ball. Almost finds its way through to Son, but Wan-Bissaka there to clear his lines and put it out for the throw-in on the left-hand side. Spurs just starting to up the gear in this game after that Manchester United dominance for a long while of this match in terms of attempts, but it's Spurs that are trying to find they up the gear, up the ante with their attacking players. They've had a few chances in the last couple of minutes that have certainly deserved an opening goal, but none. The deadlock remains. Here's Bissouma. Now Richarlison. Kulusevski. Kulusevski with a strike from distance. But on target, but straight at Andre Onana. One that will not test the Manchester United goalkeeper, that one. But again, Spurs look electric. They look threatening. Manchester United, I couldn't believe it when I've just read the stats here. They've had 14 shots in this first half, Manchester United. Now, I was wondering, where have all those 14 shots come from? But they've been mostly blocked shots, with 6 out of the 14 being blocked, 5 off target. So there's not been huge amounts of chances. 6 shots on target in total for both teams, 3 apiece so far. So it's pretty even on that front. To be fair, that's a free kick. Mount on Pape Sarr, so free kick to Spurs. As the ball's whipped in by Maddison, cleared away by Martinez. One back by Porro. Porro with the byline cross. And Romero was there to try and meet it. And Andre Onana stands strong against Richarlison. And he will gather the ball comfortably there for Manchester United. Last minute of the first 45 here at the TH. As Spurs and Manchester United continue to play out this 0-0 thriller, shall we call it. It's very rare that you would hear about a 0-0 thriller, but, well, it's a pretty good game so far. Pass from the back from Onana. It's cleared away by Spurs just about. Fernandez, Antony, and Casemiro was making the run, but was tracked all the way by Romero. So nothing coming of that. We will see how many minutes we will have added on to the end of this first half in just a few seconds, when the fourth official puts that board up and lets us know. Nice one win back by Garnacho. Ball over the line, or through the lines, and in behind for Fernandez, but into the comfortable hands of Vicario. It's a bit of a... It's again playing out from the back. It's similar to the one from earlier, where Pedro Porro just gets caught out. One back by Garnacho, and the ball through the lines to Fernandez is just a bit too pacey, luckily for Spurs, but they could have been caught out from playing out of the back again there. 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half here in North London. Will we see a breakthrough before half time? Well, not if a pass like that continues to happen. Aziz Bissouma straight out of play. Poor pass by Bissouma. Pedro Porro has been heavily involved in this match, in both ends of the pitch, defensively and in attack. That shot, my goodness, we were just seeing the replay of that shot. It was a sensational strike, but it just bombed off the crossbar. A slight bit less height on it, and that would have hit the underside of the crossbar and possibly into the net for Spurs. But nonetheless, they play on, and both managers will have improvements to come for their team in the second half. They'll be looking for improvements. That's nice feet from Udogie, linking up with Richarlison. Udogie tries to play it in behind for Kulishevsky, but just on his heels there, Kulishevsky allows Shaw to recover. And that nice diagonal by Shaw to find Fernandez. Casemiro, now out wide to Wan-Bissaka. Back in field to Casemiro. Shaw to Garnacho. Fernandez with a cross in, and the touch final off Garnacho goes behind for a goal kick. Garnacho and Rashford were lurking in there, but couldn't get any meaningful touches on it there, either of the two players. Half time in the game in the Bundesliga, and last season's runners-up Borussia Dortmund are being held 0-0 at the break by FC Köln. Their first game, Dortmund in the league without Jude Bellingham. Madison trying to play it through to Richarlison, cut out by Martinez, and Martinez with the last touch. He can't believe that he hasn't got the throw in there for his team, but Martinez must have got the last touch according to the assistant on that side, and Spurs will get the throw. The last couple of seconds of the half. Here's Bissouma. Pape Sarr. Sarr plays the ball out wide, but that is the half-time whistle from Michael Oliver, the referee, who calls to an end a first half that has been full of excitement, full of drama in front of goal, but so far no one has been able to find the back of the net. Similar to Manchester United's first game, they've been a lot better in terms of performance-wise compared to their first game, but at the moment it's the same result. Half time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Tottenham 0, Manchester United 0.
Played. So we'll find out in the second half whether either can find a way. Tottenham 0, Manchester United 0.
3 Premier League games so far today away from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, all at 3 o'clock. Fulham 0, Brentford 3. Fulham down to 10 men midway through the second half. Tim Ream sent off. Liverpool had Alexis McAllister sent off, but they still beat Bournemouth 3-1, and Wolves had Mateus Nunes sent off as they were beaten 4-1 at home by Brighton. We'll hear from Gary O'Neill during half-time. We'll hear from Jurgen Klopp as well. Let's just get details of that first half in Dublin. Ireland 12, England 3 at the break. James Burridge.
Bit scrappy, Mark, but Ireland on top with 2 well-taken tries. Bundyaki with the first, dotting down after a lovely break by Peter O'Mahony. Josh van der Fleer with the pop pass, a very soft English defence conceding. And then a minute before half-time, Gary Ringrose, the centre, on the wing, catching a neat crossfield kick from Hansen. England, for their part, well, they've barely fired a shot. Stale, predictable, no penetration. They're losing at the breakdown. Just 1 George Ford penalty. Ireland 12. England 3 at half-time.
The 100 is on Sports Extra this evening if you want that. Oval Invisibles 41 for 1 off 29 balls against Southern Brave in the men's competition. Earlier, Southern Braves women beat Oval Invincibles women to knock them out of the tournament. Trent Rockets did a men's and women's double over Birmingham Phoenix. 6:20. The latest news on 5 Live is with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Mark. Lawyers are representing the families of two of Lucy Letby's victims have described the government-announced inquiry into the baby murders as inadequate. They've called for it to be given the legal powers to force witnesses to provide evidence about what happened at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Yesterday, former nurse Lucy Letby was found guilty of murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder 6 others, and she was sentenced on Monday. At least 7 people, including a 6-year-old girl, have been killed in a Russian missile strike in Ukraine. More than 100 others were injured in the attack on Chernihiv in the north of the country. More people have been forced to flee their homes on the Spanish island of Tenerife, where forest fires continue to burn. Officials say 26,000 people have now been forced to leave areas in the north of the island, where the fire is out of control. And Prince William has wished England's women's team good luck ahead of tomorrow's World Cup final against Spain. In a video alongside his daughter, Princess Charlotte, he says they're sorry that they can't be there in person, but they're so proud of the Lionesses. You'll be able to hear the game live here on 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Goalless between Tottenham and Manchester United at the break. The second half on the way, and then it's 6:06 08085 909 693. Liverpool didn't start brilliantly at Anfield against Bournemouth. The visitors had a goal ruled out already by the time they did open the scoring after just 3 minutes. Alexis McAllister was sent off for Liverpool, a straight red, but Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah and Diogo Jota got the goals. Here is Jurgen Klopp.
So this start of the game was really not what we wanted. You could feel and sense in the stadium, it was a bit, oh my God, what's happening here? But then we found control of the game and did really well and scored really good goals, could have scored more, played really good stuff. And then second half we want to pick up there, and after 58 minutes we are 10 men, and then it's a 4-4-1 against a chasing team who chased the result obviously early in the season, and they are good, they have an idea, a clear idea, they brought strikers, all these high balls. It's difficult to defend that, but we did it, and I like that, and so we got the 3 points and all good.
Can I just ask you about Alexis's red card, because there was talk in the commentary box as to whether it was serious foul play or violent conduct, and the conclusion wasn't sure it was either. What did you make of it?
You can see it's the inside of the foot. It's no intensity. It's like the foot goes away. It's not pushing it through. So I think a lot of things which you would think
is that the kind of challenge you'd expect to be overturned?
That's in the moment not my problem. Because I don't want to talk now about that. It's really about the ref saw it, thought that's a red card, and gives a red card.
Jurgen Klopp with Rob Schofield. Match of the day 10:20 tonight on BBC One. Brighton won 4-1 for the second consecutive week, this time at Molineux. Solly March got 2 of those in the second half, and he's been speaking with Will Perry.
Solly, congratulations, brilliant performance from you. Just firstly, how amazing is it to be playing in this Brighton team right now with the type of football that you're producing?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, you want to be playing every week. You know you're going to get chances to score goals, and you're going to get chances to attack and get in the right area. So yeah, everyone wants to be playing every week, and there's lots of competition. So yeah, everyone's chomping at the bit to start games.
Was your jaw on the floor when you saw Matoma do what he did?
Yeah, he does that in training. He just sort of glides past players, and so hard to stop. So yeah, hopefully he'll do it a lot more times this season, and yeah, he's capable of doing that a lot.
I mean, he's a dribbling masterclass, wasn't it?
It was. The ball was stuck to his foot, I think. Players couldn't get near him, so yeah, he's quick, he's strong, he's agile. Yeah, he doesn't get much better than that. What
about you amongst the goals? They're coming thick and fast, 3 for the season now in 2 games. You had a sort of a telepathic relationship with Enciso.
Yeah. I was looking at clips before the game, and the coaches were saying that just time your runs and get in the box and you'll score goals, and it's paid off. So I did it a bit in training in the week, and yeah, it's just the hard work that counts.
Why has Solly March not been in the England squad?
I don't know.
England manager was here today. You couldn't have done more, could you?
No, I just got to keep trying hard and keep doing what I'm doing. If I'm scoring goals, yeah, who knows?
Fulham were beaten 3-0 at home by Brentford, including one of those goals, by the way, came from the penalty spot and also saw Tim Ream sent off. Here's Marco Silva.
It's difficult to talk about something that I cannot see anything there. I saw already 10 times the reaction from our players. They were really surprised, all of them, team and the players around. They were really surprised with something that the referee saw that. I saw the moment there probably 10 times in many angles, all the angles that the broadcast gave us to see, and you cannot see anything.
And the red card?
Okay, if it's not penalty, it's impossible. The team tried to go in the ball, didn't tackle the player, didn't do anything. The player failed the ball in that moment, and the referee. This is the moment. Apart punish us with the second goal, we were with 10 players without a player for the next week as well. It's really difficult to understand that moment. I don't understand what he saw that.
I know you don't want to talk about Mitrovic, but can I ask you, we believe it's quite close to the move now?
About the situation I can talk, of course. Yeah. I'm not talking about the absence or that, because it's always the same questions about one or two players they are out, and we didn't lose a game because one player is on. We didn't start with Mitrovic, we didn't start with João that was on the bench, we didn't start with William that was on the bench too, and some more. About Mitro, what I can say that is really close to leave the club. It's an agreement between both clubs. Mitro forced everything, did everything to leave the football club, and of course at the moment is a financial stuff between both clubs. The club decided to accept the offer from other club, and Mitro is in his way to leave the club.
How disappointing is that for you? You know, a player who's been so key to this club on the pitch, off the pitch, kind of forcing his way out, wanting to leave.
Was the decision of Mitro. The players, they can talk about their individual decisions. I'm here to do my job, to defend the club until the last minute that I'm going to be in this football club, and this is my job.
Fulham fans, you might want to talk to Chris and Robbie, 08085 909 693. There's another game later on, 8 o'clock tonight, Manchester City against Newcastle. John Bennett.
Yes, Mark, after a wonderful 5-1 win to open their season, Newcastle will feel they have a real chance to make a statement against the champions. Man City, meanwhile, back at the Etihad for the first time since completing the treble, and then adding the Super Cup on Wednesday, which meant they didn't get back home until 4 a.m. on Thursday, and Pep Guardiola is furious that this game wasn't moved to tomorrow, so Newcastle maybe can take advantage of some tiredness. John Stones and Bernardo Silva are out for City, as well as a long-term absentee Kevin De Bruyne. For Newcastle, likely to be unchanged, despite the fact that Callum Wilson has now scored 12 goals in his last 13 games. City, Mark, could set a new club record of 17 consecutive wins at home in all competitions.
Thank you, John. Ipswich and Leicester both still have 100% records in the Championship. Ipswich won 1-0 at QPR. Leicester beat Cardiff 2-1. Che Adams got an injury time winner for Southampton at Plymouth. Bolton's unbeaten start in League One ended in dramatic fashion against Wigan. Stephen Humphreys and Charlie Wyke both scoring twice for the visitors as they won 4-0. Here's their boss, Sean Maloney.
It's as good as or as an enjoyable day as I've ever had at Wigan. I know we've had some amazing moments, but I think considering what we've been through in the summer, complete change around. I loved seeing the young kids as well, the young players really in one of the hardest atmospheres for us, really go and play. So it was a really good day. I hope the fans absolutely love every minute of it. My job is keep the feet on the ground, stay humble, Bolton are a good side, and get back at it on Monday.
In League Two, Gillingham kept up the only 100% start in that division with victory at Crawley. Game of the day, probably in any division, came at Wrexham, who scored twice in injury time to draw 5-5 with Swindon. In the Scottish League Cup, Rangers made hard work of beating Morton on their way to the quarter-finals. Here's Michael Beale.
Fair credit to Dougie, his players, his staff. I thought Morton came and had a right go today. They were really well organised. They had a plan to get us in certain areas, and I thought they played well also. The teams come and they give it a huge amount of effort, and you can see that the standard of the Championship's getting better all the time. We made 8 changes today. Obviously, we're living day by day at the minute.
So that's what happened with Rangers beating Morton. Elsewhere in the Scottish League Cup, St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0, Livingston 2, Ayr 1, and Ross County needed extra time to beat Airdrieonians 4-3. To the World Athletics in Budapest next. Catherine Merry.
Katarina Johnson-Thompson started the third event of 7, the shot put in 4th place overall after the hurdles and the high jump. She opened with a shot of 13 metres and 64, which is about 30 centimetres shy of her lifetime best. But the event leader, Anna Hall of the USA, threw a lifetime best to extend her lead. One more putt to come for KJT before the 200 metres at the
Welcome back to the live commentary and coverage of Tottenham against Manchester United live on LFS for the Premier League live here on this Saturday evening. Half-time it is Tottenham 0, Manchester United 0. We've already had 4 results this Premier League weekend. Nottingham Forest winning 2-1 against Sheffield United on the Friday night game. 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon as Fulham were well beaten by Brentford by 3-0 in that London derby. Liverpool came from 1 goal down to win 3-1 against Bournemouth at Anfield in the first game at home for Jurgen Klopp's team this season. They were also down to 10 men. Alexis McAllister sent off in the second half. And Brighton with their second consecutive 4-1 win. The victims this time are Wolves' 4-1 defeat at Molineux. And that isn't all of the Saturday action after this game. We have got more Saturday action to come for you. We have Manchester City against Newcastle. What a game that is to set up, well, to finish today's action. It's been absolutely scintillating, and we are going to finish off with a cracker at the Etihad tonight. Manchester City against Newcastle at 8 o'clock. Right, the players back out and ready for the second half here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It gives me just enough time to tell you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications. So much Premier League football to come this weekend and over the season here in LFS. We have 4 more games to come for you this weekend after this one. And lots more over the season as well. Plus Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference League, FA Cup, League Cup, Premier League, Championship, Women's Super League as well. Plus international fixtures also. We will have it all covered for you. This is your go-to place for football for this season. So hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 if we can get there. That'll be fantastic. Right. All 22 players back on the pitch and ready to go as Michael Oliver's whistle gets us back underway for the second half here at the TH as Tottenham get us back underway. Is Mickey van de Ven. A second half that we're hoping is as exciting as the first half was. Not in terms of goals. There hasn't been any goals in the game as of yet, of course, but the chances and the entertainment so far has certainly not been minimal. It's been fantastically entertaining so far, but let's hope we can get a few goals to add to the entertainment we've had in this game. As Spurs play it back to Vicario. Now Van de Ven. Van de Ven tried to find a Dogi, but that was cut out by Anthony, and it will be a throw into Spurs. Updates from the other games around Europe this evening. Dortmund and Cologne has just started their second half in Germany. Empoli and Hellas Verona have also started their second half. Still half time between Napoli and Frosinone, and Napoli did get that lead before half time. 2-1 they lead at the break. And 36 minutes gone in the game in Ligue 1 between Lyon and Montpellier, and Montpellier leading Lyon by 1-0. Right, Andre Onana with the ball here. Back to Wan-Bissaka. Across and a bit risky there, Manchester United in possession, but Casemiro gets it out to Shaw. Shaw around the corner to Rashford, trying to link up, but that was good tracking back by Spurs, and Romero was there to defend. But the ball couldn't be gathered by Kulusevski, and that will run for a Manchester United throw-in. Also, Almeria against Real Madrid is also live, and Almeria have an early goal against Real Madrid. Sergio Arribas with the goal, as Real Madrid find themselves 1-0 down very, very early on in that one. We'll keep up to date with the latest from that game as well. A lot of games going on this evening. A lot of interesting games. He has Udogie breaks forward. Madison trying to feed it through for Son, and just agonisingly so close for Spurs. Madison trying to link up with Son, and just nicked away by the Manchester United defence. As Udogie tracking back, and stopping Manchester United on the counter and puts it out for the throw-in. Just see this again. It's a lovely break forward by Udogie. Gets it to Maddison, and the run of Son off the defensive Manchester United, and Wan-Bissaka with the last-ditch challenge to deny the ball, the chance to go through to Heung-min Son. Better from Spurs. Fernandes with a cross. Brought down by Garnacho on the left. 2 men ahead of him. Goes back to Shaw. Now back to Garnacho in a bit of space. Trying to link up with Shaw again, but Porro's there to defend. Richarlison. Nice through ball to find Maddison. Maddison on the break. He's got Son ahead of him. Can he find Son? Maddison, he's taking his time. Decided against it. He might have thought that he was offside there, Maddison. But they didn't play the through ball. Here's Porro. Now Kulishevsky. Kulishevsky at the byline. Trying to cut it back and across, and it's deflected, and it's in! It's Pape Sarr with the rebound, who fires it into the net for Spurs, and they have the breakthrough here early on in the second half, and it's Pape Sarr. Fantastic from Spurs. Beautiful from Kulishevsky to cut it back, and on running Pape Sarr to finish it. Just see this again, the replay. To move down the right hand side. Porro feeds it to Kulishevsky, just bursting pace, gets to the byline, cuts it back. A deflection off Martinez. It bounces in the box on the 6-yard line, and Pape Sarr with an incredible finish. Beautiful finish past Andre Onana. No chance for Onana. No chance for Manchester United. And Tottenham lead 1-0. Absolutely perfect for Ange Postecoglou's side. A great start to the second half. Manchester United caught out. They couldn't get the ball cleared first time, and the rebounded bouncing ball in the box is capitalised upon by Pape Sarr, who fires Spurs into the lead here. Well, Spurs took the lead last week, and Pape Sarr puts Spurs in the lead this week. His first goal for the club is Spurs' first goal of this game. Fantastic. And United looking for an instant response, but Rashford is well defended there, and Vicario picks up that ball. Well, there you go. That is one way to get the second half started, and the perfect way for Ange Postecoglou's team. Mount picks it up. Now Fernandes, as Manchester United trying to get back level. Anthony hits the post. Well, that goal is seemingly not wanting any goals in it. Each part of the woodwork on that goal has been hit by both teams. Anthony has hit the post for Manchester United to try and level it. As Son comes down the other end. Son flicks it round the corner. Maddison to cut it back across. Too much pace. Right across. Porro will pick it up on the right hand side. This game is unbelievable. It's electric. Porro. Sarr has to go backwards. But my goodness me, Manchester United trying to respond instantly to get back on level terms. And Anthony hits the left post with his shot. Richarlison trying to keep it alive. Nice work from Romero to keep it alive. Maddison, Son, here is Udogie! Saved and just away from Richarlison. Spurs almost 2-0 up here. The crowd absolutely jubilant. Their side have come out absolutely incredibly in this second half. It's again lovely approach play from the outside of the box. It's Maddison to Son. Son a first time ball to an on-running Udogie. Udogie takes the shot. It bounces back out and just away from Richarlison. Inches away from his left foot. But fantastic from Spurs. They get a corner here from another cross that was brought in from that throw-in. Just seeing the Anthony chance again to try and level it. Anthony with that traditional strike. We see from Anthony, cuts in on his left, takes it with the curling finish and just hits the left post. My goodness me, this game has been sensational to start this second half. We have started the way we left off. Left-hand sided corner then for Spurs. Will be James Maddison, I think, to deliver it. It is. Madison, right-footed corner, whipped in. Sarr was there to try and head it on, but United just about get it away with Garnacho. Chested down by Bissouma, as Martinez crunches a challenge. The question was being asked by the Spurs players and the Spurs fans, a possible penalty. Ref says play on. Madison, lovely feet. And he's taken down as well. Referee says play on. Wow. Honestly, you cannot keep up with this. Unreal. 2 Spurs players down inside the Manchester United 18-yard box. Vicario has to come and collect, and does so for Spurs. Romero and Madison are both down here. There was 2 calls for a penalty for Spurs. Both were waved away by Michael Oliver. VAR, I think, are going to check it. They've checked it and they've cleared it. Let's just see this one again. That's not... He steps across him there, Martinez, against Romero. There's nothing in that for me. Both trying to go for the ball. I don't think that's a penalty. And then we see the second one. We're just seeing the replay of another angle. I don't think that's a penalty. I think the referee's got that one right. And then the Madison one. Nah. He just kicks into the Garnacho, I think it was, there that was retreating, and just kicks into him. That's not a foul either. Neither of them were penalties for Spurs, and neither given. The referee just making sure that 2 Spurs players are okay. Romero and Madison. And they look to be alright at the moment. And will return to their feet. But my goodness me, what a start to the second half from Spurs. Absolutely electric. And the tempo of this game, if we didn't think that it was fast enough in the first half, well, they've certainly upped it in the second, because my goodness me, I haven't had a minute to take a breath in these first 9.5 minutes of this second half. Honestly, what a start to the second half of this game. And a lot for Erik ten Hag to think about, with this side going behind early in the second half, and Spurs kicking on from that opening goal and trying to go for a second. Manchester United just need to regain composure and just find their way back into the game. Romero. Nice work to find Udogie in space. The deflection. Calls of handball, but the referee waves that away again. Spurs trying to claim for everything at the moment. Here's Anthony. Rashford down the right-hand side. Marcus Rashford, nice feet, and is taken down there by Udogie, and that's a free kick to Manchester United. Jerry says, we actually play well with Harry Kane. Was he the problem? Ooh, well, interesting. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I think Spurs are playing really nice football, but you could argue they played really nice football under Harry Kane as well. You know, his attributes in this Spurs team, I think if he was a 10, he would have suited the way this Spurs team play now, rather than the striker. I think... Oh, chance for the free kick! Over the bar, big save by Vicario. And it was Casemiro with the header. We'll see this again. It's a whip ball, beautifully whipped ball. And Casemiro with a free header is just spinning away from Vicario, and he just gets a right hand to it and palms it over the bar. Massive bit of goalkeeping from the Spurs keeper, Guillermo Vicario. The corner taken short from United. Whipped in by Fernandes. Headed away. Son with a follow-up clearance as it's now a one-on-one as he's taken down. The referee says no to that too, and I agree with that. Wan-Bissaka just retreating and defending his team, but there's a Spurs player down again. It's a head injury. It was Kulishevsky and Wan-Bissaka. I don't think there's a foul in that. From Wan-Bissaka, I think he's just doing his defending, getting across the attacker and defending the ball, and Michael Oliver makes very sure and very clear that there was no foul in there on the Spurs player. And Kulishevsky, the player that went down from that. It was good defending by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But back to the point that I was making, yeah, if Harry Kane, I think the problem was, and I'm not going to say that he was a problem, because, I mean, I'm not hearing the end of this. He was a legend at Spurs, no doubt about that. But the point I would make is what I've seen in this game is James Maddison's role as the 10. Richarlison as the number 9 hasn't been massively involved. I think James Maddison as the 10 has been sensational. Linking up with Son has been perfect so far in this game, especially in the second half. They've looked really threatening. But I think if Harry Kane was in this team, he would be playing more as the 10 and wouldn't be, I think, colliding kind of with James Maddison in that 10 role. Because let's not forget, Harry Kane wasn't playing that traditional out-and-out striker role that he was in his early career at Spurs. He was playing more of that deeper role, dropping deep and having men run beyond him, and him playing more of that 10 role, that deeper role as a striker, and trying to play bodies beyond him, the likes of Son and Kulusevski running off him. So I don't think Harry Kane will be a problem. I just don't think the system that Ange Postecoglou is playing at the moment would have suited him in the same way as it is with James Maddison. Because James Maddison isn't playing as an out-and-out number 9. Richarlison is. Well, when the Spurs go marching in, is bellowing around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Manchester United will equalise. And it was Bruno Fernandes. I don't know if there was a flag up. Maybe there was. I don't know, actually. We'll see this again. It's shot over the top. He was offside. Bruno Fernandes just made the run slightly too early, but it was a nice idea and made the nice first-time strike against Vicario, who parried it wide, but he was offside anyway. Bruno Fernandes. Better idea from United, though. Montpellier have just doubled their lead against Lyon in that one. It's 2-0 now before half-time in that one. And all the same around the other games at the moment. Here's Maddison. James Maddison, nice feet. Cuts it back to Udogie. Now Pape Sarr. Sarr out to the right is Porro. Porro to Kulusevski, trying to open up a bit of space. Cuts it back for Sarr from distance, and that's gone over the bar and wide for a goal kick. Spurs have been much the better team in this second half. Spurs have had actually more XG in this second half already, in the first 15 minutes of the second half, than they did in the whole of the first half. They had 0.51 XG in the first half, 0.54 in the first 15 minutes of the second half. So they're having much more of an attacking impact in this second 45 so far. Manchester United struggling going the other way at the moment, as Anthony gets it stolen off him by Son, but Anthony putting in the challenge to win it back and then giving it away again. And Son in space down that left hand side. Here's Heung-min Son. Varane has to come across and try and cover as Heung-min Son still has it, linking up with Maddison round the corner. Son again. Son in the box, switch the curl across. Richarlison couldn't get there. Falls to Bissouma. Lovely feet from Yves Bissouma. Flicks it back to Son. Son to Udogie. Lovely from Spurs. Bissouma, nice ball, finds it to Udogie, to Son. Son trying to get through. Son here. So Shaw with a block and puts it behind for the corner. He was going through so many bodies. Manchester United, shambolic defensively there. They just cannot get a challenge in. They're afraid to put a challenge in on Son. And it's Shaw that eventually gets the block in. But that is fantastic from Heung-min Son. Just skips past a couple of Manchester United players in the box. And it has to be the last-ditch challenge from Shaw that sees it go wide. But my goodness me, this is perfect. Perfection football from Spurs in this 18-yard box. Sensational footwork. Maddison with this left-sided corner whipped in. Romero was the closest to it as Casemiro headed clear. Porro keeps it alive. Son brings it down. Out wide to Maddison on the left. Nice take by Maddison, who gets it back to his captain, Heung-min Son. Now Bissouma. Bissouma in a bit of space. Closed down initially as Pape Sarr keeps it alive. Porro on the right. Kulusevski. Dejan Kulusevski. Back to Porro. Now Romero. Out to the left is Maddison. Maddison with a cross. Cleared away by Varane. Kept alive. Kulusevski linking up with Porro. Porro with the byline. And Manchester United just about had that covered with Luke Shaw and goes behind for a goal kick. But again, better from Spurs. Really, really threatening. Honestly. I'm honestly shocked at how different this has been. Spurs had chances few and far between and were probably second best in that first half to Manchester United. And it's like chalk and cheese. It's like a whole different 11 have come out in this second half for Spurs. They have been quicker to the first balls, more intent at winning the balls and picking up the ball in attacking areas, showing more desire to get into attacking areas in this second half. They look so much better on the ball, in possession. Just everything has been taken up a few levels by Spurs at half-time somehow. I don't know what they've fed them at half-time, but whatever it is working. Here's Maddison. Ball over the top for Son. Son on the left. Can he keep it in? He does keep it in. Heung-min Son. Son on that far left-hand side. Cuts it across for Maddison. Maddison back to Son. Nice Son to Bissouma. Bissouma skipping away from a few challenges. Bissouma with a low shot. And just wide for Yves Bissouma for the goal kick. And the Spurs fans absolutely loving this. They're lapping it up. It's gorgeous football again from Spurs, and Manchester United are having rings run round them at the moment. And they're going to make a few changes because Erik ten Hag, I'm sure, is not happy with this second half for Manchester United. They've been dominated by Spurs, completely outrun by Ange Postecoglou's side in this second half. Bissouma brings it down nicely. Kulusevski trying to find Porro, trying to make a run off Shaw, but Shaw defends it really nicely, really well, to stop the Spurs attack in its tracks. But Garnacho couldn't keep it alive for Manchester United, and Spurs just having all the possession at the moment. Manchester United can't string 2 or 3 passes together. Maddison taken down there, but the referee will play on. Udogie, Son, back to Destiny Udogie. He's got the ball stole off him there by Udogie by Anthony. Anthony in the box here. Manchester United have a few forward. Anthony trying to break into the box with a quick feet, but Van de Ven is quick to that one and deals with it. Richarlison wins the throw in. Every player on the pitch getting involved for Spurs at the moment. And I think Manchester United are going to make a good few changes. A triple change for Erik ten Hag. Christian Eriksen, Diogo Dalot and Jadon Sancho will be coming on. Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony are the 2 of the changes so far. So Garnacho off, Anthony off, Sancho and Eriksen on. And the third and final substitution for this moment in time is Wan-Bissaka off for Diogo Dalot. I think they're going to make that Wan-Bissaka change because Wan-Bissaka's on a yellow card and Son is absolutely running rings around him at the moment. And Manchester United looking for a bit of more midfield cover. That's lovely from Richarlison. Finds it out wide to Porro. Porro on the right, looking for the instant cross, and the deflection will just allow it to be gathered by Andre Onana in the Manchester United goal. Casemiro. 66 minutes gone here. Spurs 1, Manchester United 0. It's been all Spurs this second half. 20 minutes of pure control from Tottenham. And that's what has them with the 1 goal lead at the moment. Romero. Pape Sarr. Sarr breaks away from the Manchester United midfield again. Nice move. Finds it to Son on the left. His first battle with Dalot. Gets it out to Udogie. Udogie just on the edge of the area. And trying to flick it back, but Manchester United recover in possession. But that's poor from the United captain, Fernandes, who heads it straight out of play for a Spurs throw. Had to take just a quick drink there to regain a bit of my voice, because my goodness me, my mouth is drier than a desert at the moment with this game. Absolutely electric. Manchester United at the back. Ball forward is brought down nicely by Van de Ven, and that's lovely footwork again. I don't know what Ange Postecoglou is getting them to do in terms of their footwork, but Spurs, the quick feet And the nice bits of skills with their feet to evade the challenges of Manchester United have been genuinely insane in this second half. Richarlison, switch ball out to the right for Kulusevski. Kulusevski looking for the cross in, looked back for Richarlison, and just too high for the Spurs number 9. Nice link up between Richarlison and Kulusevski, but Kulusevski's ball was just a slight bit too high for Richarlison. Here's Fernandes. Gets the throw in after the ball deflected off Udogie. And out for the throw in on the right hand side. Well, I talked about what happened to Spurs at half time. They come out with a totally different 11 for a good thing. Manchester United have been unable to cope with it so far in this second half. Manchester United were nowhere near expecting this, but Spurs are the home team. It's their first home game of the season. They go in 0-0 at half time after probably being the second best side at going into the half. I think they're going to come out and give you a bit of something in the second half, and that's exactly what Spurs did. Manchester United didn't anticipate it, and so far they've actually seen themselves out of the game by their own doing, because they just haven't been able to put a stop to the Spurs dominance so far. And Spurs are about to make two changes to bring a bit of fresh legs on it. Looks like it's Yves Bissouma that will make way. Or there's actually Destiny Udogie. It's because they both have braids. They look very similar. Richarlison, it looks to be. So Destiny Udogie is off. He has been replaced by Ben Davies, it looks like. And the second substitution is Richarlison off for Ivan Perisic. So maybe a change in system, possibly, for Ange Postecoglou. But a double change. Udogie and Richarlison off, and Perisic and Davies on for Tottenham. So a bit of fresh legs for Spurs to try and see them over the line. 20 minutes plus additional time to go. Spurs 1, Manchester United 0. And Richarlison certainly not happy with the decision from his manager to be taken off. So he's not particularly happy. But again, I mean, it's similar to the one with Mo Salah last week being taken off a bit early. You never want your striker to be satisfied with being taken off in a game. You always want him to be slightly irritated, especially when he hasn't scored. Dalot back to Onana. Fernandes with a flick on, but Spurs will pick up the second ball through Bissouma. Davis, first touch to Perisic. Maddison trying to feed it through for Son, but that's blocked by Manchester United. That's lovely from Porro to give the slant to Sancho. It's lovely. Bissouma. Kulusevski with it slightly short. Sold his man short there, Kulusevski. And nice. Sancho's broke free down the left. Jadon Sancho, and the deflection off Bissouma. Will see the Manchester United throw in on the left. So throw in on the left hand side for the visitors, Manchester United. Shaw to Eriksen. Now to Varane. Dalot. Fernandes. Back to Dalot. Infield to Casemiro. Now Eriksen. Down the left is Shaw. Back infield to Eriksen. Manchester United just trying to work a chance here, work something. Sancho to Shaw. Now back to Christian Eriksen. Eriksen trying to feed one in. Headed away by Davies, and Perisic to follow up that clearance. All the way up the pitch and back with Andre Onana. Eriksen. And that's just kept in by Fernandes. Casemiro brings it down. Back to Bruno Fernandes. Looking for the switch ball. Blocked by Kulusevski. We have team news from the Etihad. We'll get that in a few moments. Kulusevski's blocked off there, and Bissouma tries to win the loose ball, and That's gone out of play for a goal. A throw in to Manchester United. Team news from our late game in the Premier League this evening, an 8 o'clock kickoff at the Etihad for the champions Manchester City. Edison in goal. Kyle Walker, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias and Josko Vardiol in defence. Oh, loose ball from Eriksson. And Spurs couldn't latch onto it. Eriksson. It's Andre Onana out to Eriksson, and Eriksson just tried to go for the ball round the corner to Dalot, and he just slips. And luckily for Manchester United, Spurs couldn't latch onto it, but they do have a corner. As I was saying, Walker, Akanji, Diaz and Vardiol for Manchester City at the back, Rodri and Kovacic in midfield, Alvarez, Grealish, Foden and Haaland in attack. I'll get to the Newcastle team in a moment after this Spurs corner. Maddison to take on the right hand side, right footed corner whipped in, front post, right across. Son will gather at the back post to keep the attack alive. To Perisic. Now to Pedro Porro. Pape Sarr. Porro. Out from the back. Nice ball down the line to find Perisic, who's made the run. Ivan Perisic up against Dalot. Cuts inside. Dalot across to Maddison. Maddison trying to find the tiniest bit of space to squeeze the ball into. Gets it to Perisic wide again. Perisic with a reverse cross. And waiting there was, I think that was Porro. It was cleared away by Manchester United as it's carried away by Rashford and out for the throw-in. Team news for Newcastle. Nick Pope in goal. A back four of Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman and Dan Burn. A midfield three of Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton, with a front three of Miguel Almiron, Anthony Gordon and Alexander Isak for Newcastle. Team news from that game. Manchester City against Newcastle. Kick off at 8 o'clock. Live commentary of that one from me from 7:55 on LFS. Around about 15 minutes to go in this game. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. And Spurs, I think, are going to make another change. It will be Pape Sarr, the goal scorer for Spurs, that will make way. Massive involvement for Pape Sarr for his first ever Spurs goal. And he will be coming off the pitch. And he will be replaced by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And a gesture of appreciation from Ange Postecoglou to Pape Sarr there, to show his appreciation for that opening goal. The only goal of the game so far. Eriksson. Shaw. Back to Eriksson. Looking for the switch ball, Eriksson. Brought down nicely on that right hand side by Dalot. Out wide to Fernandes. Fernandes with the cross. Cleared away, but Shaw will pick up the loose ball. Now Mason Mount on the left hand side. Shaw. Shaw with the cross in, and too deep as Perisic chests it back to his goalkeeper. Spurs look confident, in command at the moment. The poll in the chat, still the vast majority, 49% of the chat predicting a Manchester United win. Only 34% predicting a Spurs win and 17% predicting a draw. Keep your votes coming in, and we'll close that poll around the 90-minute mark. Eriksson. Back to Varane. Now Martinez. To Rashford. Now Shaw. Rashford again. Rashford trying to burst past Porro, but really good defending from Pedro Porro to hold off the run of Rashford. Really, really good, and Spurs will win the throw-in from that encounter. Well, we talked about Manchester United's away record against top 9 teams. Only one draw away from home against the top 9 last season. It looks like their winless run against top 9 teams is going to continue here this afternoon. And their run of defeats, 8 defeats out of 9, is something that is horrendous against top 9 teams. As Son picks up the loose ball given away by Fernandez. Son feeds it down the left-hand side. Here's Perisic. Ivan Perisic trying to go for the cross, but body's back for United. Son picks it up. Now Davis. Heung-min Son. Madison. To Son. A second goal will surely give Spurs a bit of daylight here. Bit of room to manoeuvre. Bissouma. Højbjerg gets it to Porro. Back to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Spurs in possession. Down the left-hand side. Madison back to Van de Ven. Sorry, apologies for that. Van de Ven. Honestly, this game has been an amazing match to watch. And Spurs, to be fair, have to give full credit to Spurs, although the game isn't done and dusted yet and the result isn't confirmed yet. But the football that Spurs have played in this second half has been next to none. It has been sensational, the football that they've played on the counter-attack. It has been so beautiful to watch. And that's what you love to see. I love to see a really good footballing side. Here's Ben Davis. Breaks into the space. Gets it to the on-running Kulishevsky. It just beats the pace of Kulishevsky and goes behind for a goal kick. But again, Spurs finding that space in behind the United defence. Trying to push for that second goal that would surely give them comfort in this one. But with it still being 1-0, still a tentative knife-edge game. Sancho has to go all the way back across to Varane in defence. Raphael Varane on the halfway line. Rashford linking up. Varane. Out to the right to Dalot. Now Mount. Mount in this right wing position. Mason Mount. Cuts back, chopping back, left foot across in. Headed away, and the follow-up from Casemiro is bounced towards Vicario, who will easily catch. Last 10 minutes of the game. Spurs leading by that goal to nil. The goal from Pape Sarr in the first few minutes of the second half that has Spurs ahead. The clearance from Vicario. Varane with the header, followed up by Mount, brought down by Rashford. Mount to Eriksen. Eriksen out to Dalot. Now Fernandez on the right wing. Eriksen. To Varane. Martinez with the ball over the top, and that ball will just bounce down for Vicario to collect again. Bit of frustration for Manchester United in there. Haven't got much patience left. Erik ten Hag is just going to throw on a few more forward players to try and force this game, to push this game, to try and get something. Ben Davis down the left-hand side. Here's Madison. James Madison to Højbjerg. Bissouma. Højbjerg. Back to Romero. Kulishevsky. Madison back to Romero. Spurs just calm possession. Madison with a switch ball. Lovely ball out to the left for Perisic. Perisic right across. Ben Davis, and it's in! And somehow it's bundled over the line, and I don't know if it was Ben Davis or not, but it's Spurs that have the second goal. And surely the 3 points are staying here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 2, Manchester United 0. And with this second half, it is surely deserved for Tottenham. Just see the replay. It's calm possession. It's a lovely ball by Madison out to the left to find Perisic. Perisic, a low ball across. Ben Davies it is with the left-footed. It's just a low shot. He miskicks it. And Martinez tries to clear it. Martinez, it seems like it might be an own goal for Martinez. It's Perisic to Davis. Davis with the slightest of touches, and then Martinez with a deflection into his own nets. And that just epitomises the quality of Spurs in the second half and the lack of quality for Manchester United in the second. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 0. Well, was there a check? There was. Of course, VAR have to corroborate it, but they have. And that is surely a perfect time for that second goal for Spurs. Fantastic. Honestly, they deserve nothing less than 3 points here today. They stayed in the game in that first half when Manchester United had the more of the chances. They kept it even. They come out of the blocks in the second half. They took their advantage early on. They dominated the vast majority of this second half. And then the dominance and the control and the possession from Spurs is just matched. And kind of their hard work, it pays off. They get a bit of luck and they get that second goal. Double substitution then for Manchester United. Rashford is off, who is fuming, Marcus Rashford. He's replaced by Anthony Martial, and young Facundo Pellistri is replaces Mason Mount in attack. So a double change for Manchester United. Rashford and Mount off, Martial and Pellistri on. So just over 5 minutes plus additional time to go. Spurs 2, Manchester United 0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Spurs good for more. Porro trying to break, but blocked away, and Eriksen gets it to Martial for his first touch. And Casemiro, bit dawdling, but gets the ball out to Pellistri. Pellistri, who's taken time, but the referee plays advantage. Martial around the corner to Fernandes. Fernandes trying to fire it through a load of Spurs bodies, but they're blocked off. Manchester United trying to keep the possession. Well, the issue for Manchester United here today is they just haven't been able to find their way back into the game. They were probably, I wouldn't say Manchester United were amazing in the first half. They were a bit more energetic than Spurs, and I think Spurs started the game off a bit slow, a bit lethargic in the first half, but Manchester United capitalised upon that a bit. They couldn't really find the goal, and a goal for Manchester United in the first half would have been perfect because they weren't out and out the better team. It was an even game at 0-0, but Spurs would be just much the better side in the second half, and that's what separated the two. Manchester United trying to make a late claim for a consolation, maybe. As the ball across the box is defended by Spurs. Sancho picks it up. Nice Shaw with a cross. Bit of a deflection. Cleared away by Spurs. Kept alive by Dalot. A goal here for Manchester United will certainly make it a nervy end to the game for Spurs, but 3.5 minutes to go, plus additional time. Varane. Dalot. Pellistri. Dalot. To Varane. Pellistri. Facundo Pellistri, nice burst of pace, gets to the byline, goes down. Referee gives no penalty. I think they might check it though. Not really. Again, I don't think there's much in that, to be fair. For Ben Davies' point of view, it just makes the challenge. I wouldn't give that. Spurs making more changes then, just to try and run down the clock. As Porro makes way for Manor Solomon. Porro makes way for Emerson Royale. It's Kulishevsky that makes way for Manor Solomon. So another double change from Spurs. And their fifth and final changes. Spurs just managing this game now. They've given it away though. Sancho wins it back for Manchester United. Gets it to Fernandez. Blocked off again. Really, really good from Spurs. We look at the stats. Spurs have had 7 shots on target. Manchester United have had 5. So it's not massively different in terms of shots on target in the game. As Solomon battling there. Keeps the possession going. As the referee plays advantage. Basuma with a heavy touch. Shaw latches onto it. And Fernandez gives the ball away again. Here's Højbjerg. Now Madison. Out to the left for Perisic. Madison again. And the box cuts it back right across. Spurs trying to find bodies, but Manchester United have all the bodies back to try and defend. Try and not make it worse. And try and nick a goal on the counter. Here's Christian Eriksen. Pellistri for Manchester United. Breaks into the box, Pellistri. Cuts it back to Dalot. Now Fernandez. Fernandez with a cross to the back post. Casemiro with a header. Simply caught by Vicario. Flag was up, I think. Nonetheless, and don't forget, we have more football to come after this game. Man City against Newcastle, 8 o'clock kickoff at the Etihad. As we surpass the 90 minutes, and we will have 9 additional minutes at the end of this game. Still a lot of time for some late drama, you never know. Although we love a bit of late drama in the Premier League. But I just think it would be a bit unfair if there was a bit of late drama against Spurs here. They fully deserve the 3 points here. Pellistri. Dalot with a cross, cleared away. Eriksen. Martinez. Fernandez from distance, but straight to Vicario. They've made half chances, Manchester United. Simple as that in the second half. They've just made half chances. Nothing of massive quality. Real Madrid have completed the comeback against Almeria before the end of the first half. They lead by 2-1 in that one. Borussia Dortmund look to be getting their first win of the season in their first game of the season. At home to Köln. Daniel Malen with the goal in the 88th minute has them 1-0 up. They're into the 90-plus minutes at the moment. Hellas Verona leading Empoli by 1-0. Napoli looking to be cruising to victory 3-1 at the moment. And Montpellier 2-0 up against Lyon after 63 minutes. Here's Emerson Royale. Solomon. 2 minutes of the 9 played. That seems like a long time when you say it like that. Spurs on the break down the left. Here's Perisic, Madison. Tries to go for strike. And the follow-up, both blocked by Manchester United. Solomon keeps it alive, whips it across. Away by Varane, and Ben Davies' shot is straight into the hands of Andre Onana for Manchester United. Full credit to Spurs. 2-0 up. They have been excellent in this second half, and Jerry says brilliant football by Spurs. He's loving this game. I've absolutely adored this game. It's been sensational in this second half. The first half was so entertaining because it was so even, and the second half's been so entertaining because of the dominance of Spurs and the beautiful football that they've been playing. They've just been sensational. And honestly, let me know in the chat. We've earned about 5 minutes of the game still to go in additional time. But let me know who your player of the match is. Who do you think deserves player of the match? For me, there's a number of candidates for Spurs. James Maddison, Heung-min Son, Yves Bissouma, Pape Sarr. Porro's also done well. The defenders have done well. The whole Spurs team have been very, very good. But I think I do have to give it to Pape Sarr. I think he changed the game. You know, Pape Sarr got that goal early in the second half and completely changed the complexion of this game, from a game that was so closely fought to Spurs getting that goal early in the second half and taking the initiative and the advantage and running with it. And I think that's what changed the game. Without that Pape Sarr goal, who knows what this game could have ended up. And I think, his goal is probably the most impactful one of the two, but I think his goal completely changed this game. You know, when you score 4 minutes into the second half, I think you need to take the initiative, and Spurs did, and they ran with it. Manchester United just couldn't keep up. So Pape Sarr is my player of the match for this game. Spurs just in control of this, just passing it around the back at the moment, not looking to rush things, just looking to manage the game and run down the clock. With the ball in play, here's Emerson Royal. Goes back to his goalkeeper, Vicario. Brought down by Manchester United, who win it back through Sancho. Into midfield, Shaw with a heavy touch, but he keeps the possession. Here comes Luke Shaw. Shaw to find the shots of Casemiro, who goes over the bar. Three minutes of additional time to go. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 0. And that away end, it's looking a bit bleaker than it was 90 or so minutes ago. As the corner comes in for Manchester United, headed across by Casemiro, away by Solomon. Son with the follow-up clearance. Sancho picks it up for Manchester United. Eriksen with a cross, right across, and Varane! The flag goes up anyway, though. The excitement continues late in. Let's see this again. It's the cross from Eriksen, and Varane is offside, quite clearly offside. The header is fabulous, but he is in an offside position when he does head the ball. So, wouldn't have counted. It was a massive save by Vicario anyway. Tipped it over the bar, but nonetheless, it didn't count. Real Madrid had thought they'd taken the lead before half-time, but that goal was disallowed. The Toni Kroos goal in the 51st minute of the first half. 6 additional minutes in the first half, but the goal was disallowed. 1-1 at the break between that one, Almeria and Real Madrid. And full-time score in the game between Borussia Dortmund and Cologne. It is Borussia Dortmund that have won by the 1-0. Daniel Malin with the only goal of that game to give Borussia Dortmund all 3 points. And Montpellier have just gone 3-0 up against Lyon now. Here's Pellistri. His ball pass is cut out by Ben Davies, but Pellistri was taken down by Basuma, so that'll be a free kick to Manchester United. We will close that poll then. The vast majority of our chat predicted in this game that Manchester United will become out winners, but it looks like it's Spurs that are going to get the 3 points, and they will get the 3 points for the very first time against Manchester United since at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Since, let me go back to have a look, January of 2018 was the last time that Spurs won against Manchester United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or at Spurs' home ground. Christian Eriksen and Phil Jones with the goals on that day. Phil Jones with an own goal. And Christian Eriksen, who plays for Manchester United at the moment. You wouldn't read it. Fernandes with his free kick takes it and over the bar. That just sums up Manchester United's day. A good chance and completely wasted. The last win for Spurs, by the way, Jerry, I noticed that you put 2020 in there. The last Spurs win against Manchester United was in 2020. That 6-1 freak win at Old Trafford on that day. That was the 2020 win. The last win with Spurs at home, that was 2018. So a run of good form for Manchester United here at the against Tottenham comes to an end as Tottenham pick up all 3 points. Ange Postecoglou, 2 games unbeaten, a draw against Brentford in Matchday 1 away from home, and come back to North London to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and pick up all 3 points against Manchester United. A fantastic performance in the second half from Spurs that more than deserved the 3 points. Manchester United will be licking their wounds going back to Manchester with defeat here, and not a goal to show for it. But the full-time score from the TH, a well-deserved victory for Tottenham. Full-time score, Tottenham 2, Manchester United 0.